Oh, there you go. Testing. Can you hear me now? For some reason, they just have your picture up there.
Oh, that probably.
Yes, I believe, Fiona, that was you. We can hear you, Fiona.
All right, let's see. Hold on, where's my? Let me get on. It used to show up here. What happened?
I know, it's like, because it's a Facebook Live thing, so I'm not, but it still is really.
Oh, but how do I? How come I can't turn on my?
What does it say? Maybe up there.
Start my video. Okay, there we go.
Yay!
Yes, so Fiona, there you are. We're seeing you perfectly well, Fiona. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be with you shortly.
Okay,
I'm
no
going to
problem.
mute you now.
No problem. Okay. I'll mute myself.
Peter, stop share me. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Sherris. I am the president of the Rotary Club of Oakland, and I want to welcome you to a joint meeting of the Truckee Rotary Club and our club. President Meg, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much for having us.
Boy, I am so impressed with that background. You have a real, like, drape there. I've got just this virtual thing. You look a lot better.
Thanks. This is a photograph from, I think, one of our charter nights several years ago that I found in the archives.
All right. Well, it's fantastic talking to you. And I understand you stole one of our really prominent members, past President John Gressley. Is that correct?
We did steal him, and we're about to steal the other Gressley household member. Gruden's coming on, I believe, in July.
Well, that's you're gonna love them. Hey, John, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, John.
Yeah,
We love seeing you.
Gudrun and I are socially distancing. She's 20 feet away on this upstairs, and I'm downstairs. She's on the Oakland feed, and I'm on the Truckee feed.
All right. Well, it's nice to see you, and welcome.
It's good to see you.
So Rotarians are welcome to visit any club in the world. And if you are visiting us at this meeting, be sure to let us know by writing your name into the chat and which club you are from. And if you're just visiting us as a person that wants to see what we do, we are happy to have you again. Let us know you're in chat and we will recognize you a bit later. We also today will be using the chat as our Q&A. So if you have questions for our speaker, be sure to put it into the chat. I have Jack Isles, my buddy, is keeping track of that, and he'll be doing the questions. Today's meeting will be a little bit different. We're going to ask Fiona Ma to actually speak to us in the first half of the meeting, and we will do our Rotary business in the second half of the meeting. We're also going to try having some 5-minute to 10-minute breakout sessions at the end of the meeting. Hopefully it'll feel a little more intimate with 5 or 6 or 7 people in that breakout room. You can meet and chat with some of the friends. We here at Oakland Rotary begin our meetings by reciting the vision of Rotary, which is that together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Rotary connects us all. Scott Bowie, are you there?
Yes, thank you, President Peter. I am most proud and honored to be able to, and thank you for putting up the American flag. for leading the Pledge of Allegiance today. So
Right, in honor of Memorial Day, which is Monday.
in honor of Memorial Day. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
under God,
with
indivisible,
liberty
with
and
liberty
justice
and justice.
for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you to those. Also, I heard there were a number of people reciting in the background. Mary Jeong, you have brought us a great speaker today, and I would like you to introduce her, please.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Mary Jeong, and I'm pleased today to introduce the Honorable Fiona Ma as our keynote speaker today. Fiona Ma, CPA, is the first woman of color to serve as the state of California's treasurer. Prior to her service in government, she worked as an accountant at Ernst & Young, a Big Four CPA firm, before leaving to start her own accounting practice. As a small business owner, Fiona became involved in advocating for other small business, especially minority-owned businesses. As the state treasurer, Fiona is the state premier banker. Her office has processed more than $2 trillion in payments annually, oversee an investment portfolio of over $100 billion, and sell over $100 million in bonds a year. In addition, she chairs 16 programs that support economic and housing developments, financing healthcare and education facility, and much more. However, before being elected treasurer, she was an elected member of the Board of Equalization, or BOV. While on the BOV, she identified the cannabis industry as the largest underground economy in California, and she led efforts to regulate the industry and develop legal banking mechanism for the marijuana business so that they can pay their taxes to California, so which in turn gives Fiona Ma more money to make payments, a win-win for both parties. So beside the BOV, she also was elected to the California State Assembly from 2006 to 2012. She's the first Asian American woman to become Speaker Pro Tem in the State Assembly. And before that, she also served 6 years as San Francisco supervisor. Now, and as she doesn't have enough to do, Fiona found time today to attend our virtual meeting during the May Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. So let's give Fiona Ma a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mary? So thank you, Mary, my fellow CPA, for inviting me to come today. I know we've been working on it since the beginning of the year, and now we are all here on what is the new normal Zoom meetings. Noah Starr from my office will be helping me in the chat room. He will be typing in different websites and emails and phone numbers as I mention them. But Mary, as Mary stated, I started my career with one of the big 8 accounting firms, so you kind of know how old I am, and then left and started my own practice and became president of a small business association. And that was the first time at the age of 28 that I got involved in politics. All of a sudden, I had to go and represent small businesses before the Board of Supervisors, went to Sacramento to testify on legislation, got involved in the White House Conference on Small Business, also to represent small business owners. And I understood then that although small businesses are the backbone of the economy, they face very, very difficult times in terms of all the bureaucracies they have to face, the audits, the filings, the fees, and then just trying to keep their lights on is enough, but they don't have extra money to hire lobbyists to go and do the lobbying. And so a lot of small businesses face a lot of different hurdles and challenges, but we need more small business owners to represent us either on commissions at the local level, get elected to your city council, your board of supervisors, and hopefully the legislature, where many of the laws are passed that impact all of us every day. So this is probably my 24th webinar on different topics to different industries. Today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about small business and other resources that are available, and then also go into a high-level discussion of the May revise, the governor's budget that was just unveiled last week. So we're all kind of on the same page in terms of what is happening at the federal, the state, and the local level. First off, my website, www.treasurer.ca.gov, has two buttons that are prominently displayed. The first one is the covid19.ca.gov website, which is our state's official health and safety and government websites. We encourage people to log on to that site versus rely on what is going around on social media, which is not always true, as we know. The second button is my COVID-19 resource guides. I have my external affairs team who have pivoted from in-person seminars to now these webinars, and really compiling these resource guides for small business, for food, tax relief, individuals, and our latest one is trying to help nonprofits with the different loans and grant programs. Also, a lot of different companies now are also stepping up to provide different programs. And so those are updated on my resource guides in real time. So we encourage you to go and log on for the latest. If anyone has questions that we did not answer here today, or you have questions, or your constituents, your family members, please email me at askfiona@treasurer.ca.gov. I know people are, wondering about their stimulus checks or wondering about their PPP loan. Is there more money going to be allocated? What happens if we can't employ all the people that we're supposed to, so that we don't have to pay back the PPP loan? Please just email us. We have answers to most of that. But know that things are happening very quickly at the federal level. Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Congress passed a $2 trillion package last Friday. There are issues with the Senate, and the senators are not expected to go back and debate on that bill until after Memorial Day. But there should be more assistance to not only small business owners, to local governments as well. So keep up your voice and your advocacy to your elected officials. All right, so let's go to the other slide first. Yes, so you probably heard that the governor has projected that we are going to face a $54 billion deficit in this fiscal year, which ends June 30th. And the way he proposes to balance that $54 billion is on the slide right now. So the first one is canceling expansions and other reductions. Governor Brown had done an inventory of state properties that needed to be seismically retrofitted. Some of them are going to be put off, including my state treasurer's office. And then the second one is reserves. As you know, we had about $26 billion in rainy day funds before the COVID-19 crisis started. The governor proposes to withdraw 8.8 billion of it this round. That fund is protected and cannot be completely depleted. So this is one of 3 installments. The next one is borrowing, transfers, and deferrals. That is borrowing from different funds that have unutilized, they have reserves that are not necessarily being utilized right now, and then also deferral of many of the payments or programs that he had funded or agreed to fund last year, now perhaps are not going to be funded. New revenues basically is coming from the deferral or the suspension of the net operating loss revenues with a cap. Federal funds is what we have been getting from the federal government. So that amount is definitely a solid amount, that 8.3. However, the triggers for $14 billion really depends on whether this federal government is going to continue to give us more stimulus money for the different programs, services, and all the people that are filing for unemployment right now. If the federal government does not provide more substantial funding, then that number, Mary, as we call it, is a squishy number. And so the governor has talked about 10% across the board cuts. We are all preparing for that, that time, if that time ever comes. So that is the $54 billion hole. Next slide, please. So this slide has a lot of numbers. And what you should just take away from this is that the first column is to or through the state, meaning that the stimulus money, the 4 packages that were passed, is either going to come through the state, and then we will direct them to the different programs, or the last column, direct stimulus, is the federal government actually giving the money directly to individuals, for example, businesses through the PPP program, small businesses, local government, housing authorities. So as you can see, that's the reason there's a lot of confusion, because the money is not just going to the state where we are administering everything. As you can see, some money is coming to the state, some is going directly to the local governments and the different programs. And that's why there's a lot of confusion, and our phones are off the hook. People are calling every day about one or more of these programs. And so I just want to say, you don't have to memorize it. Just know that there is a lot of money coming, but it's just coming from all different places. Also, the census. We received $9.5 billion from the federal government in the CARES Act package because of the number of people that we have living in the state of California. And that number comes directly from the census, which is what we do every 10 years. For every person that is not counted, it is going to cost California $1,000 per person over the next 10 years in federal funding. So as you can see how important it is, we got our 9.5 proportionate to the number of people, but we are really concerned during this coronavirus time that people are not going to register for the census because they're used to having someone come to the door and, you know, tell you about the program and reassure you and sign you up. And now nobody's going to come to the door, and we're really depending on all of you to help us get the message out. It takes less than 2 minutes, 9 questions, but again, as you can see how important it is that we ensure everyone is counted to make sure we get our federal share of dollars. Gavin Newsom, the governor, has issued a number of executive orders. He's usually on TV at noon. It's called Newsom at Noon, where he gives the latest statistics and executive orders and programs, and even these days, the opening, right? How many of you are dying to go out and, you know, have a meal or get your hair cut, right? I mean, I'm grooming my dog because, you know, Petco's not open as often. And so he also tells us when counties are able to open and what type of industries. He also set up a hotline for seniors, and that number is 833-544-2374. It is multilingual, but people do answer because I have people call all the time, and I want to make sure people are answering before I refer this number. But this is a good number if anybody needs to, you know, understand what some of the programs are, including Governor Newsom's new feeding seniors at home through local restaurants. So that program is really going to help our local restaurants stay in business by having a steady contract 3 times a week to deliver meals to folks who are sheltering in place. And let's see, another public-private partnership that we formed is with onwardca.org. This is a database of available jobs. Last we counted, there was about 110 job openings. So if people are looking for full-time jobs, part-time jobs, perhaps you can refer them to that website. In the meantime, edd.ca.gov is very, very busy processing all of the unemployment checks along with the $600 extra amount that people who are unemployed are getting every week. And then with the new pandemic unemployment insurance money, that is now going to independent contractors and gig workers. And so there's a lot of interest in making sure that those industries, those people who are independent contractors or gig workers, they've never been able to apply for unemployment insurance. And so this is the first time that they are eligible. So the federal government has spent a lot of time and effort in a very quick way to try to get more money into people's bank accounts so that they can pay their bills and hopefully, stay in their homes and apartments during this time. But we always advise folks, if they're having a hard time meeting their financial needs, to work with their banks. Bankers should be very flexible these days in terms of, deferral of certain payments or creating installment plans. The banks do not want to foreclose and take back homes. They don't want to take back cars. So if you have a chance, I would call your bank and just work out some sort of arrangement if you are not able to pay all of your bills at this time. And let's see, what else can I, maybe I'll just open it up for some questions.
Wow, thank you. You and your staff have provided a whole bunch of links that are next to they're in the chat. We will pull those off and make a document and get it out to both our members, and also I'm sure I'll send it to Meg. I'm sure she can get it to the Truckee members as well. I have one question here which says, will the governor's various approaches to filling the budget gap have any implications for cities and counties?
Yes, right now we are hoping that in this last stimulus package from the federal government, there is more direct assistance to local governments. The first round of funding that came out went to cities and counties with populations of 500,000 or more people. This next round, they intend to drop it to cities or counties with $50,000 or more in direct assistance. We understand with the deferral of sales tax, perhaps some of the property taxes that may be paid late, as well as deferral of paying your income taxes, and also, of course, the sales tax loss from restaurants and hotels and different retail shops. This is creating a lot of financial hardships for local governments, especially the small ones that don't have a lot of options. And so they are looking to us. I'm on different Zoom calls with different mayors around the state who are asking that we, either the federal government or the state, assist the local governments, especially during this time.
All right, so I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Jack Isles. He is basically the most handsome young Rotarian in our club, and I'm going to have him finish up the questioning. See, I even got a smile out of him.
Well,
hey, Jack.
Hey, Peter. I don't know about the handsome, but I think I might be the youngest. So a few other questions that we've seen come through the chat. How does the federal government allocate or determine how much money California will get? We've got such a big population. How is that sort of taken into account? We need a lot of help here.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of the allocations from the federal government depends on our population and how many people that we report in our census. And that's why I always start these type of talks to remind people how important the census is. But yes, that's usually how we get allocated. Number one, the direct federal assistance, and then the PPP program went through the U.S. Small Business Administration, and they worked with their SBA lenders. So in that case, it was not based on population, but it was based on the number of banks that participate in that program. And then they were allocated a certain amount, and then taxpayers had to file applications with those individual banks. And so there was a lot of angst about that, because people said, well, my bank is not an SBA lender, so does that mean I cannot access the PPP money? No, that's not true. The small business development centers in the state, there's I think like 24 of them that is funded by the federal USDA as well as from our state. Those folks help package many of these loans for free. So we encourage folks, if you're not with a bank that is one of the bigger banks perhaps, but a smaller bank, go see your SBDC lender person in your jurisdiction for assistance on accessing all of these federal programs.
So another question from Greg Knight, and thank you for answering that one. We're probably just at the beginning of this economic downturn. What plans does the state have if we don't quite get that V-shaped recovery everyone wants?
Well,
for
and
2021 and beyond. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, we are estimating that we're probably not going to get back to the 2019 levels of employment, economic activity until about 2023, 24. So we are not out of this downturn yet. I'm glad that there are certain industries that are able to open, so that should help alleviate some of the the needs from the federal and the state and local level. But unless we fully are able to open, which I don't think anybody believes that that's going to happen anytime soon without a vaccination, every day is going to exacerbate our deficit and our ability to get back up and running.
Thanks for answering. Another question, well, I'll combine two questions here. Will there be significant cuts in the state's budget to education or affordable housing, especially with consideration that schools will likely need more money to safely reopen?
Yes. So 50% of our general fund goes to education, whether it's K through 12, community college, CSU, and the UC system. So when we don't generate enough revenues, obviously the most direct impact is to education, since that represents 50% of our budget. The other percent, about 10%, goes to the public safety, meaning our jails. And then the other 30% is health and human services. So those are the big sectors that are going to be most impacted when we don't generate revenues. Affordable housing. I oversee two agencies that gives out the bonds as well as the 9% and 4% affordable housing tax credits that is used to build affordable housing. We have been open since day one, March 19th, when the governor ordered his stay-at-home orders. We have continued to be open, not only because we're the state bank, and the state bank needs to stay open because we take all the money in, we transfer money, we invest money, and that happens every day. But because we're open every day, affordable housing has continued our meetings. We have expedited the bonds as well as the credits out to applicants in hopes that they're going to be able to close on their financing. And we are doing everything we can to keep affordable housing projects moving here in the state.
Cool, thank you, Fiona. Another one for you. California has a really high tax rate, but corporate tax rates haven't changed for quite some time. Is it anticipated that corporate tax rates will increase in the state?
right now, I am working closely with Senator Hertzberg and Senator Bradford. They have a workforce and economic development post-COVID. I don't think there's an appetite to raise any type of taxes at this moment. And so they are trying to figure out how to generate revenues as quickly as possible with the least amount of impact to our residents. I'll give you one example they're working on is allowing wealthier individuals to prepay their taxes now so that they will get some sort of tax benefit later on. But these are some of the creative ideas. And if you have any ideas, we are open to any ideas that you may have.
Thank you. If we have any good ideas, we'll add them in the chat and send them your way. So if we're not going to increase taxes, how does the federal government plan to pay back the trillions of dollars?
Well, that's a good question. I was on with an economist of one of the largest banks at 11 o'clock. And one of my questions was, we used to talk about the federal deficit, right? How every year Congress had to go back and take a long time because they couldn't get together. And now look at our federal deficit, right? $4 trillion that we just issued. Is that going to be discussed anymore? And he said, probably not. They're probably not going to talk about the federal deficit. The federal government can issue money. The state, we can borrow or issue debt. However, the local government does not have the ability to do either of those. And so local governments have the hardest amount of time because they have to balance based on the amount of income that they receive. So there's a lot of confusion. People said, I got the PPP loan and I'm supposed to bring back workers for 8 weeks. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pay that money back. And folks have been calling saying, how am I supposed to bring them back if I can't open? What am I supposed to do? You know, so it's like this, you know, chicken or an egg that's happening at the federal level. But we do advise that everyone keep good records. At some point, the federal government will come back and audit and try to figure out, you know, what is happening out there in the community with all of the money, whether they're going to be able to track all $4 trillion and get it all back as loans. I'm not sure. At some point, maybe they're going to have to just, you know, issue them as grants and say, you know, thank you very much. You know, we hope this has been helpful during this time.
Awesome. And then I think we have time for one more, Fiona. So this is a joint meeting with Oakland and the Truckee Rotary, and two totally different municipalities. And from the Truckee Rotary, we're wondering, what do you see on the horizon for federal assistance for some smaller cities in the state?
Yeah, so we are hoping in this latest package that is being discussed that more money is going to come for local governments. And I think, Truckee, you're one of the counties that applied to open, and are you one of the ones that are open right now or in stage 2?
I'll check the chat and let you know.
Okay, so so certain ones, I think your county is, you know, has filed to open and you are starting to open. Oakland has not. As part of the 9 Bay Area region, the 9 Bay areas were the first ones to shut. They're probably going to be the last ones to open up. So there's, you know, as counties are not able to open, they're going to require more assistance. And that's the reality. But we are very cognizant that the smaller cities, counties, special districts are also going to need help in terms of backfill money.
Cool.
Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say, Fiona, thank you for the questions. And yes, you were right. Truckee is open.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Ms. Ma, thank you so much for your presentation. If you don't know, the Rotary International set a goal back in the 80s to eradicate polio from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And we honor our speakers each time by giving a donation to End Polio Now. And today, Joe Garalka, you have a special presentation to talk to us a little bit about End Polio Now in the time of COVID-19.
Yes. Hello, Peter and
Hi,
Fiona.
Joe.
Hi.
Hi,
Fellow
Joe.
Rotarians, be proud. You are eradicating polio from the face of the earth. The number of polio cases since 1988 has reduced by 99.9%.
Wow.
Just 33 cases in 2018 and only remains active in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We are close. FYI, the plus in Polio Plus refers to the many child vaccinations also included in the program. But why so much time, energy, and funding for Polio Plus? Maybe the coronavirus outbreak can help us remember what the world was like before a polio vaccine, what the world was like before an army of Rotary volunteers delivered vaccines to remote areas and disadvantaged countries, what India was like just a couple years ago, what Afghanistan and Pakistan still face today. The fears, number of cases, number of deaths, hospitalization rates, quarantine, possible resurgence, all seem so real today. But the Polio Plus groundwork is now also helping minimize the effect of COVID-19. Surveillance, contact tracing, testing. And when a coronavirus vaccine is ready, suspect the Polio Plus playbook will be a roadmap for distribution. Until we hit zero, the world could see a resurgence of polio. So as you slowly return to barbershops, beauty parlors, and restaurants when it's safe, remember to recommit your time, talent, and treasure to your Rotary projects and also to the Rotary Foundation and our signature project, Polio Plus. Peter, let's show the video.
All right, let's turn off the video because the sound has failed, even though we checked it before, and we will move on with the program.
Thank you all very much. Stay safe. We will get through this stronger together.
Yes, and thank you again, Treasurer Ma. It was a joy having you on, and we are very interested in what you had to say.
Thank you, Peter and Meg. Thank you. And
Thank you. President Meg, I hope you and your club enjoyed being with us. Let's take the slide down, please.
Yes, thank you very much for having us. I think we could probably ask questions of Fiona for another hour and a half. But
right. You know, John and Gudrun are tremendous promoters of international projects. And so I kind of hope that we're going to be working together with John and with you and with Gudrun on projects in the future. What do you think?
I think that sounds great. We look forward to having them because we have a void right now in our club with good international experience. So yes, I think that would be a great idea.
All right. Well, we'd love to work with them, and John and I and John and Gudrun, we're all very close and have done a number of projects together. So we'll definitely be seeing more of you. Thank you very much for attending.
Thanks for having us again.
My pleasure. Ed Jelen, you have some work to do today.
Yes, I do, President Peter. We have a wealth of visiting Rotarians. And I'm going to actually start with the Rotarian that came the farthest from one of the very oldest Rotary clubs that was founded in 1912, just 3 or so years after ours. And he was the 100th president of that club. And so it's an honor for me as 100th president of our club to introduce Fergus Gillis, who's here with his wife, Patsy, visiting us from the Rotary Club of Edinburgh. So welcome, Fergus and Patsy. Nice to have you here with us.
That's Edinburgh,
Edinburgh.
but no problem. I have relatives actually that live in Edinburgh, so if I ever get to visit them again, I'm definitely going to come and visit that Edinburgh club.
Yeah, in
if I
fact,
may- may I say
a little
word?
research, Edinburgh is the 62nd club out of all of the 35,000 clubs in Rotary. We do have some other Rotary dignitaries with us here today. Very happy to introduce a past district governor from our own district. He was governor 2006, 2007 from the Rotary Club of Santa Cruz, and also has been serving the past 3 years as our district chair of the Rotary Foundation. Did just a fantastic job. Will be stepping down at the end of his 3-year term. And please welcome from the Rotary Club of Santa Cruz, past District Governor Russ Hobbs. And the beat goes on. We have with us a past president of the Oakland Rotary Club, who is now a member of the Tahoe Rotary Club. He was president of Oakland Rotary in the 89-90 Rotary year. Please welcome Dale Shamblin. Welcome, Dale.
Hey,
Good
Dale.
to see you.
Fantastic.
And then we have a number of Rotarians from Truckee who checked in and wanted to be introduced or at least threw their names in. So welcome to Kathleen Egan, Brent Collison, Matt Warren, Supervisor Richard Anderson, who was actually born in Oakland. We have Laura and Mike Ryan. President Meg has already been introduced. Nancy Holliday, Michelle Erskine, and Rich McCon. So welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining with us for this meeting. And that's the end of my list, President Peter.
I think that's a record, Ed.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a record. We're going to call it a record. Thank you very
Okay,
much,
good.
Ed. It's always nice talking to you. All right. We have Jessi Schmidt up next. Now, Jessi is a member who I have just turned a job over to, and I know that he was checking up on our members who've been calling, our older members, to make sure that they're doing okay. And so, Jessi, I really want to thank you for stepping up to that role. And Jessi is sponsoring the meeting today. So
yeah, well,
go for it,
of course.
Jessi.
Happy to be of help, and I'm happy to hear that most of our Rotarians are doing well during this COVID time. So my name is Jessi Schmidt, and I am the owner, along with my partner, of Truth Not Trends, or TNT, which is a virtual personal training business. And right now, during quarantine, we are training clients online through Zoom, just like we're at this meeting right now, with people in their homes using whatever tools people have available. So that might be no tools at all and just using your own body weight. It might be dumbbells or resistance bands or water bottles or family pets. It's all kinds of, or using whatever we can get our hands on to get a great workout. And right now I'm going to turn things over to Diane Schaefer, who is going to give a little bit of a testimonial for our services.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to tell a little bit about Jessi from my own experience. It really taught me to educate myself on how working out correctly and what it means and what the reality was and why. Intensity and spending long hours on working out didn't do it. It didn't do for the healthy effect that I was looking for. And when I worked with Jessi, he explains his philosophy about training and why, how it would be applicable to what you think you know and feel and what you're looking for. Well, there's then a realistic discussion of the what, the how, and how it's all going to look like, so you can reach your goal with Jessi. And Jessi, he listens, he recognizes, he responds, he observes, he teaches, he reflects all the aspects of what a knowledgeable trainer does for somebody who wants to be in better health and a lot more energy. So for me, it was awesome. I learned a lot from his training philosophy, how to take better care of myself, how to work out properly, how to not be so tired, how not to not want to work out, but look forward to it. And I highly, highly recommend Jessi because his whole training and philosophy just makes you feel good. Thanks, Jessi.
Thanks so much, Diane. So just to reiterate one thing that Diane said, we specialize in helping people of any age, but especially older adults, maximize their strength in only 1 hour per week. And right now we have an offer. You can go to our website at truthnottrends.com. Every Rotarian is being offered 2 free virtual training sessions. So please visit us there. And thank you very much for listening.
You did it, Jessi. You got it all done in less than 3 minutes.
Under 3 minutes.
I'm proud of you. You're a future Rotary leader, that's for sure. All right, speaking of Rotary leaders, Jim Caponegro, the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Oakland Rotary Endowment. You're unmuted, Jim, you're on.
Okay, thank you, President Peter. Like Peter said, I'm the chair, the president of the ORE board, the Oakland Rotary Endowment Board. And we're getting ready to end our Rotary year coming at the end of June the 30th, which means we're in transition. So starting July 1st, we will have some members rotating off, some members rotating in, and new officers for our board. So I just wanted to announce that we have 3 members rotating off our board. And because those 3 members are rotating off, we need 3 new members to come on in. And our board has selected Kathleen Sims, Georgia Richardson, and Leanne Alameda as our new incoming members. But part of my responsibility is to make sure that I present this to the Rotary Club and that there's a 10-day gap here where if anybody else in the club wanted to nominate someone or nominate themselves, please give their name to President Peter. He and I will have the discussion and talk to those folks and see how we would progress heading into the future. And if we don't hear back from anyone, then these 3 members will join our club immediately. I also, Dudley, just wanted to show the officers for the board year, if you could put that back up one more time. Lastly, I just wanted to share with everyone, starting on July 1st, we will have new officers of the ORE board, and that'll include Mike Mowry as our new president, Jelaine Virgil as our vice president, Jim Bossenecker as our treasurer, and Kirsten Melton as our secretary, and I will move into the president emeritus role. That's my report, President Peter.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And if you do have suggestions, feel free to send them in. Speaking of the Oakland Rotary Endowment and all the amazing work we do, we are trying to raise a little money for that, and it's coming up very soon. Christine Watson, what's happening on May the 30th and right now?
Hi,
Christine, are you there? There you are.
Hi, President Peter. Could I
Hi,
have
Christine.
Start, please? Okay. Hey, I just want to make sure everybody knows there are only 9 days left. 9 days to find out if you are the winner of the Fine Wine Fire Pit raffle. Now, there's only 9 days left. But my goal for today's meeting is for us to add 11 additional tickets. That's all we need for this meeting. So go right into your chat, put in your name and say how many $50 tickets do you want, because you have an excellent chance of winning the entire raffle prize. That's 25 bottles of wine. So I can see Ruth is in there. Come on, guys. We're almost there. We're almost there. We just need a couple more. Yes, let's go. Let's get to that 11 tickets. Did we get there, Pat?
Trying to check.
Getting close.
Okay,
Next
two more.
slide.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Pat, next slide. Not that one. Go back one, please. Okay, so on May 30th, we will be having the Gala Auction, and it will be from 5:45 to 7 p.m. You have between now and May 30th to go online and bid and bid and bid. But before you go online to bid, guys, you've got to register. And to register, all you have to do is just go in and put in your name, your address. It's really easy. If you have a question, call me, call Pat. We'll walk you through it real quickly and help you get your funding in place. But let's just say that you're not really feeling that you need to bid on any auction items. Great. We totally understand. There's something for everyone with this online experience. So what we need you to do is to help us with our fund of need, which is online this year. Pat, can you give us a couple of examples of, even though coronavirus has affected our ability to get right in there and touch people as closely as we have in the past, what are some of the things we expect to do with the money we get from our fund of need? What do you
Wow, Christine, there's so many. Well, one thing that you'll know next year, you'll be giving every transitional kindergarten books so they can continue to read over the summer. You'll be supporting our high schoolers be ready for college and career by developing presentation and leadership skills at Enterprise Institute and our RILA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Camp. And also you'll be saving tens of thousands of lives through the many water and sanitation projects that we support all over the globe. So that gives you some idea.
That is outstanding. So you get the experience when you go and register and you go to our Fund of Need page, and we're looking forward to hearing the register and also seeing everybody on May 30th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. All right, before we go to our breakout sessions, I have one last thing, and that is David Stein. Are you able to tell us about next week's speaker?
Now that I'm unmuted.
Sorry about that, David. We cross muted and unmuted you. Let's see. Sorry about that. Give me just a second. I am unmuting you right now. Here I go.
Now I can tell us about next week's speaker.
Yes, you can.
As you can see from the slide, our speaker next week is Walter Hood. He's the owner of Hood Design Studio here in Oakland. Hood Design and Walter do projects all over the country in public spaces, design, landscape, research, and urbanism. Walter was recently featured in Diablo magazine, where he described himself as a cultural interloper. He was a 2019 MacArthur Fellow, formerly a MacArthur Genius Grant. He is a professor at UC Berkeley, and he's going to talk to us about two very interesting projects he's got in the museum field. One is the International African American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina. And the other is right here in Oakland, the Oakland Museum of California, where he's leading the design for re-envisioning the Oakland Museum and the various outdoor spaces there. He's a fascinating speaker. You won't want to miss it. Come next week and hear Walter Hood.
All right. Thank you very much, David. We'll look forward to that. So today we're going to give a shot at recreating that dining table experience. And I'm going to click a button in just a second that's going to break people out into rooms of 6 or 7, so you get to say hi to your friends in a more intimate setting. Other clubs tell me this is a very popular part of the meetings. It feels much more intimate. So here we go. I'm going to open all the rooms, and then I'll come back to you. You'll get a 60-second warning right before 1:30. Okay, so I am closing those breakout sessions, and I think people are starting to come back in another 30 seconds or so. So for anybody who's with us, if anybody's online that wants to make a comment about how those sessions were, we'll make better use of them in the future if people enjoy them. Hey, Phil.
We're
I
back.
unmuted you.
Technology is wonderful, isn't it? Love it.
Well, there's 17 of us. Wow, somebody's got a nice picture of oh, it's Sean. Hey, Sean, that's quite a picture you have.
Last year to remind me what it was like to actually travel somewhere interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That's Turks and Caicos.
It is hard.
Thanks,
And
Dave.
Philip's got this big rhino right behind him that's going to pierce the back of his neck. All right. So I don't know how many folks we're now here. Okay, so there's 43 folks today. So let me get back on schedule here. Welcome back to everybody who has come back. I hope you enjoyed the smaller group. I hope you enjoyed the session. We look forward to seeing you next week. And let us know how those group smaller sessions, how they felt. Because if you enjoyed them and we hear more about it, we'll set it up. Maybe we can have a particular discussion topic, or we can talk about a project. And so be sure to let us know how you feel about it. It's a little bit after 1:30, and this meeting of the Rotary Club of Oakland is adjourned.
Thank you. Class.